Yeah, so I'm Katy Cleece. I'm a social worker, social work research lead for Lancashire, South Cumbria NHS Foundation Trust. Yeah, so I'd already undertaken previously some of the looking at systematic reviews in a particular area of interest. So when this was suggested, I thought, well, actually, I don't know much about economic evaluations, so it's worth coming and giving it a shot because it isn't something I do, a lot in my practice, but actually in social work, we're often looking at what interventions are available, how that's useful for people. So having a better understanding of what an economic evaluation around a particular area and actually working with other people as well. That's what motivated me to come to it. Yeah, I don't really know what I expected before, but it was really good because we were all like really different backgrounds coming together. So the starting point of picking what topic area we were going to do felt very collaborative because we all had opportunity to say what our area of interests were, and then we all came up with some papers, and then between us we went away and looked at what those reviews were and came up with a group decision on which one to take forward. And then it being online made it easier because we didn't have to physically get to anywhere, but we were all together in one room and it was the same group every time. So yeah, I thought that was really accessible then. Yeah, I think that, prior to, like I said, I didn't have much experience in this area. So beforehand, I probably didn't have much knowledge or understanding of how things are picked or evaluated based on best sort of value for money on outcomes, not just actual costs. So looking at all the different elements to it, how does it help? How does it become sustainable in practice, or, and how it relates actually to people. So for us, we were looking at something in the area of dementia studies. So it was about how that would actually help people accessing social care in that particular area and what things had been trialed before and how then it's looked at from a cost and an economics point of view. Yeah, so I mean, my daily job's all about building research capacity and, very much looking at that from a social work point of view, which isn't always thinking about things from a cost analysis point of view. But actually, what's been really helpful is some of the students that I work with or some of the other practitioners is helping to kind of widen their understanding, their views of things. So part of my role is saying to people all the time, let's bring it back to practice, let's bring it back to theory. How do we connect the two? And social workers in the main, they go out and they do loads of really good work and they're working really hard and they've got high caseloads and a lot of time demands. They don't often get time to stop and think about and engage with why do we do what we do? Where is the evidence base created for why we do what we do? Why do we think about what interventions are available in the main, particularly working in health settings? Why is that, available and something else isn't? How can we question that? So it's about giving confidence and a voice to people in having a bit of knowledge in this area, how we can maybe question an area of practice or challenge it or make suggestions for other areas, and having more of our voice in there that we've probably been absent from before. Not particularly for myself at the moment, but certainly as I'm putting in, so I do a lot of work with the Regional Research Delivery Network as well as within my own trust. So again, it's given me more of a voice in that area of why we're looking at things because I didn't have any understanding of that before. So it just gives me a bit more confidence in that. And as I'm putting together bids, I think it helps me to write in a way that says, this is what your value for money will be. Whereas prior, we're just putting in costings for this, costings for that, but I would struggle to bring the two together and justify why there's that need there. So that's where I think it's most helpful for me is when I'm writing in that and giving me more success in securing those. Yeah, so I probably haven't, but as I'm sitting here now, I'm thinking, in that role as community settings lead for the Regional Research Delivery Network, that's an avenue and I can discuss that with some of the other people and make suggestions for how they could potentially get involved with things like RaCEEs in future, and those opportunities. I do share things within our social work groups. So like we've got our World Social Work Day next week and I'll be talking about what opportunities are coming up, and I produce a quarterly newsletter. So there's things there where I share the opportunities for people to get involved and have, similar learning. Yeah, absolutely. So I think quite often you have practitioners that are going about the daily, practice and getting involved in doing their job as such. And then I think you have policymakers, and I think there's an absolute like gulf between the two of them. So practitioners being able to come and have an understanding of why policymakers arrive at things, or and actually then to be able to go back and make suggestions gives power to those practitioners who have an awful lot of knowledge but are often not connected within those, or don't even feel like they have a space within there. So I think when you empower practitioners to be able to go and be in those spaces, that's much better. And if we can empower policymakers to engage with practitioners, that's going to narrow that divide.